Michigan State wins 41-24 over Youngstown State to advance to 3-0 on the year in a game that was a little bit of ups and downs. I don't think it was the performance a lot of fans really wanted, maybe players as well. But what were your thoughts on the game yesterday for Michigan State?
It's kind of like the saying they say a lot in the NFL, a win's a win. It wasn't pretty though. Honestly, it wasn't very encouraging going into USC next week, but they still were in control majority of the game, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it never truly seemed like Michigan State was going to lose the game. I know it did get a little uncomfortable
After
at
the pick.
times. Yeah, after the pick, but it was also a really unusual pick.
Yeah.
I truly don't think that should count to Aidan
No, it's so
Chiles.
sad. I agree. It ruins the child's agenda push. Well, it doesn't ruin it, but it's just crazy that that's his first pick of the year.
Yeah, and it's obviously the offensive line basically lets
Yeah.
the three technique come in the middle. He gets a hand on the ball, and then it just finds someone else. It's just
Yeah.
insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
but just I don't want to say disappointing game, but like the score, in my opinion, maybe equals to like how the game was, even though Michigan State scored really late with Tolliver. I just would like to see a little bit more running the ball effectively. I know we ran for I think 174 yards total, but it truly seemed like Michigan State struggled getting a push on the offensive line. We saw a little bit of issues, obviously continue with the defense as well. I think our biggest takeaway, in my opinion, is the defense and how that's going to probably be an issue for MSU all year.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's anytime you're playing an FCS opponent, you really don't want to see the score tick into the 20s. And not only that it ticked into the 20s, I mean, there were moments, but it's just like this has been this is year two now, and it's just like the defense has struggled for almost the majority of it. So you
Yeah.
gotta as a fan, like both of us, when you go into that game, you're hoping to see improvement against an FCS level opponent. And they didn't play horrible, but let's put it this way: it's not like the 2010 Narduzzi defenses.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I think it truly starts with the defensive line for the most part. Obviously, I thought it was pretty decent against the run for the most part, outside of the one really big run that they gave up. I think if you look at the average for what Youngstown State had, it was like a 3.7 average
Yep,
for rush attempt, but
yep.
it was far worse than that. Like, it truly was that one big run by Jaden Gilbert. I think it was like a 50, 60-yard run, and then everything else, MSU just shut down the whole day. So at least you have that going for it, but that defensive line continues to be an issue when it comes to getting pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, no, and even again, not to try to demean one of the positives from our defense, but it's again in the trenches. It was where you're going to see the biggest gap from an FCS roster to a Big Ten roster. Like you should dominate the run game as Michigan State against Youngstown State. So yeah, no, the pass rush, you got to find a way to get home. You got to coverage wasn't horrible. I mean, they threw for 200. It's just I don't know. It's not as clean as it should be by now, in my opinion. And heading into next week, well, I guess we still got our preview to do on like Wednesday, but just it doesn't give you confidence. Although USC didn't look like world beaters against Purdue by any means. I mean, they
No.
scored 33 points and 7 of them were from a pick six. So, but just still the talent gap, you're going to go from playing Youngstown to USC. You got to hope that the DBs can cover and the pass rush can get home and help out the DBs.
Yeah, and the good thing is that next week you won't be facing the type of quarterback Bro Brungard is. Now you can say that's a good thing because maybe he's a little bit more mobile than that, but then you also
Yeah.
look at the other quarterback and you're
Yeah.
like, he can throw the ball so much better
Jordan
than
Mailata. Yeah.
yeah, he can throw the ball so much better than Bro Brungard is. I know that Ant Wright basically on Twitter, like early on, basically said that he's like Timu Johnny Manziel. Do you kind of agree with that a little bit?
Yeah, except I mean, sure, it's a funny comparison. So yeah, I'll give him. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, or like a tight end. He's honestly like almost a really
Weird
athletic
build.
tight end.
Weird build for sure.
And
For
you did
sure.
mention like he threw for 242 yards on this defense, which I believe in Locked On Spartans like is his like third or fourth most ever in a game. So there's also that concern as well.
Really, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good. But also I feel like some of it, and I don't want to completely go in on the defense, which we
No.
absolutely could, but I feel like some of it's miscommunication as well. I feel like
Oh
there's
yeah,
some pass broke downs.
there are a couple times it was a fourth down. I want to say third quarter, and you can see like Eaton and a couple Willie and some guys they had no idea. Well, it's a fourth down. It's like 4th and 3, and you can see that they were. I was sitting with my dad, and I was talking to him. I'm like, we have no idea what we're doing, and they were talking about it for like 10 seconds. It's like we got it. It is miscommunication or something. Signaling isn't coming in well. Whatever it is, that's got to get ironed out because I think you see a team like USC and Nebraska upcoming, and they see that we don't know what they're doing. And Youngstown wasn't quick at all to snap it, and whereas I think USC and Nebraska will be like, all right, we're gonna go get this first down now.
Yeah, and obviously you're going to be facing much more talented skill position players, wide
Yeah.
receivers, stuff like
Yep.
that. If that communication isn't there, if it's not right there, it's really going to burn you. And I don't think it necessarily burned MSU too bad, but I did think there was several times where it did burn them.
No, yeah, it for sure. It's something just like another thing that needs to get ironed out.
Yeah, and also giving up big plays as well. I believe MSU gave up like maybe 4 or 5 like 15, 20 plus yard plays in this game. Outside of those, if you really take away those, I don't think the defense was too bad, but it truly goes back to under year 2 of Joe Rossi. And I feel like Joe Rossi's getting a ton of hate or complaints, and I'm not going to say they're not
Yeah.
worth it or they're not good because obviously the defense hasn't been good. But how much do you think the defense plays into not having a pass rush and having 1 sack against Youngstown State versus more of the back end issues that we've been talking a little bit about?
Like you think the problem is more the D line, are you saying, or the secondary?
Or just not getting a pass rush in this game and not been getting a pass rush in any games?
Yeah, I mean that obviously that puts your defense at a handicap. Um, Especially with all the changeover they've had on the outside or in the defensive secondary. So it, the, it's hard because, like you said, it's year 2 of Rossi, so it's not like he's been here forever. But it is your second year with some guys and guys like Jordan Hall, and they're gonna know how to play in the defense. Wayne Matthews, Malik Spencer. So I do think, and again, I think coaches fall as scapegoats a lot, maybe a lot more than they should sometimes. But eventually, it's like, okay, maybe we don't have the personnel to just win rushing 4, but I think that's where you hope that your defensive coordinator can figure out a way, knowing the players he has, to scheme something up to give him a chance to get pressure. Because, like you said, I mean, this is how many sacks did I get last week against Boston College?
I believe they've like only got like a handful in like the first like couple of games. I don't know if they even
That's
get.
what
I don't think they
I don't
even
think they
got
got
one.
one, correct?
No,
And then
no, they
that's
there was
against
one that was
Western.
close.
So, yeah, and you mentioned the big play. I'm looking at just at the box score here, and you've got for the Youngstown receivers, you've got a long of 26, a long of 39, a long of 23, a long of 23, and a long of 19. So that's 5 plays of 20 yards right there. And that just is really concerning. Like you said, is the level of skill players you're going to see going forward will be drastically better.
Yeah, and I know we've been a little bit rough on the defense, and I think a lot of people will continue to be there. But I do think there's a few players that deserve praise on the
But yeah,
defense
no,
as well. Amarion Smith is one of those. I think that pick that he had, at least from my perspective, it looked like he baited Bo Brungard to throw it. I don't know if that's necessarily exactly what happened. Maybe it was just a great play. But Amarion has been great. And also you have Nikai Martinez coming back, which
coming
will
back.
hopefully help with that communication as well.
Yep. No, it was well, we kind of look like idiots. We were talking about how little little we hoped to see them play, but we didn't think it was going to be that close the whole time. And we've ended up got Nakai Martinez in his first game back out there in the fourth quarter. So that didn't go to plan. But yeah, no, when I'm saying this, and I know the same for you, echoes that I'm not saying this is not like a dead defense at all. Like there are guys in place that'll make plays in Hall, in Matthews, in Spencer, in Van Summer, and like there's Jalen Thompson. Like there's plenty of potential here still. It's just you eventually the potential's got to come to light a little bit, at least to give you any sort of confidence.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's about, like you said, it's about potential finally reaching their peak, like where they're
Yeah.
supposed to get. We haven't seen that yet.
No.
Obviously, through 3 games, that's still a while to go. But let's talk about one player that has been seeing a little bit of his potential continuing to grow, and it's on the offense of the ball. Aidan
Okay.
Chiles in this
Okay.
game, I thought was outside of the pass, which obviously wasn't his fault. I thought Aidan Chiles was absolutely fantastic in this game outside of that pass and also the hurdle attempt that he had in the middle of the field. Aidan, love you. Please don't ever
No
do
need.
that in this game ever again.
Yeah. No, absolutely no need for that. Um, Before I go into the offense, I do want to shout out the other Aiden West. Yesterday made a great play on a little slip, kind of in the flat to a tight end. He came and just chopped a tree perfectly. So
Oh, yeah, I
that was kind
remember
of
that.
fun to see. Anytime you see true freshmen out there making plays, that's inspiring, especially like we said with the way this defense has been looking. So maybe he could step into an elevated role coming up if he keeps making plays. But yeah, the offense, I mean, for as concerning as the defense looked, the offense got me excited as hell. I mean, it's looked great. It does Michigan State has not had an offense like this prolific anywhere near it since 21. And I mean, Childs 22 of 29, 270. Like you said, the pick wasn't really his fault. He probably seeing the guy gunning down his face, he probably could have held onto it. But again, I'm not going to get on him at all. The hurdle attempt was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. You're way too valuable to do that in a game against Youngstown, especially when the guy didn't even look like he was going down. I don't really know what the thought process was, but it was kind of funny. After the fact that he was okay, it was funny. At the time, it was horrifying.
Yeah.
But no, you end up with what, 4 rushing touchdowns. Rodney Bullard actually got
Yeah,
in
you
the end
called it.
zone. That was cool. I didn't think it was gonna happen for our first touchdown, but I'll take it. Should have put a could have invested in that. But no, the one of the things about Childs that's been great is again Michigan State actually having we always love to say our QBs have a threat to run, but like Childs actually is a threat to run.
Yeah.
8 for 76. I mean, he extends plays, he gets chunk yardage. The designed runs, I thought the designed runs from Lindgren looked great
I did
yesterday.
too.
It was the offense is just cooking. It's fun to see. It's scary now. Got to hope Nick Marsh is okay. Frazier, have you seen any updates? I haven't to this point.
I haven't seen any updates. Also, you have Vinkett out as well. That
Yeah,
didn't necessarily
yeah,
look good. I don't necessarily expect him back. I believe he was cut off at halftime, so that didn't look
yeah.
good. You also have Brady Pretzloff. His injury didn't look
Oh
good.
yeah, he didn't look. No, no. He's probably out.
Yeah, like you even mentioned, like you don't hurdle in this game, but like at that time, MSU was losing quite a few important players to
Oh
injuries.
yeah.
Like
No, that
Aiden, like
was
come on,
horrifying.
man.
That was horrifying. He
Uh,
should. I'm sure he'll never do that again unless it's like warranted. I don't think that was warranted.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know very many warranted opportunities. Maybe if it's like the end of the game and he needs to try to hurl someone into the end zone, perfectly
Yeah, no,
fine. But
there
that's
are
about
not
it.
many warranted opportunities. I'm just thinking
Yeah,
like next week it's like in the third quarter and he's trying to make a play and we're in a close game. It's not nearly as like what are you doing like it was yesterday.
yeah. It's almost like you have that argument of like, what are you doing or why slide? Like, there's going to be
Hmm.
probably a time where he slides where you're like, just run for the first down. But then like
Hmm.
now we're saying like, why are you trying to hurdle someone? Like it's kind of a back and forth of just like, let's just make the smart play
Yep.
as of this point. But yeah, without Frazier, we don't necessarily know about Frazier. We don't know about Nick Marsh. We don't know about Van Kick. I thought the best running back in this game was Elijah Talbert, though.
Yeah,
I
really
truly
good.
thought that he was the best guy, and maybe it will start having him gain a little bit of confidence, and maybe you'll
Hmm.
start seeing him have the ball a little bit more if Makai's out for a little while.
No, yeah, I think. I mean, he made the most of his opportunity for sure. He would have had what three carries for like 15 or 16, and then breaks off a 20-yard touchdown. So that's, I mean, yeah, you can't do much more than that in limited opportunity. So, and he was pretty hyped up coming in the spring and summer. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe it builds confidence, gets get some more tick going forward here. We'll see.
Yeah, and then you also did mention Nick Marsh. I think we need to talk a little bit more about Nick Marsh. He was an absolute beast in this game. Like you could see Aidan Chiles saw one-on-one opportunity
Yeah,
every single
I
time
I don't
directly
know.
to Nick Marsh.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what Youngstown's defensive game plan was to just leave him on an island, and it wasn't even like they were pressing him up. There was like 4 times, like 3 or 4 of his catches where, yeah, they're on a they're playing like 8 yards off the ball, and Nick Marsh, he's just running 5 yards, stopping, catching the ball, and breaking the tackle. It was like that was way too easy, but it just shows how. I mean, it also what it also shows is that Childs and Marsh are starting to build little advanced connection where it's just like, oh, Aiden sees this corner sagging way off him with no help over top. He's gonna just dunk it to him and let him go make a play.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say there should be a check in the playbook for any specific time that if you see Nick Marsh one-on-one opportunity with the corner,
Yeah,
unless it's the best corner in the country, and maybe even at that point and they're off the line of scrimmage, it should be a
yeah,
check where it should be a slant, it should be a dig, it should be 5 yards pretty
quick
easily.
hitch. Yeah.
And yeah, and you see like even when he gets the opportunities, he had the corner miss his tackle like at
Oh,
least every single time it
yeah. Oh,
happened.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, dude, that to be fair to the Youngstown D coordinator, I was kind of just throwing shade, but it is a hard matchup, especially when you're not as a talented of a team, because if you press them, then you can go fade ball. So, but no, I agree. I mean, anytime Childs can get Marsh on an island out there, it's easy money, easy money.
Absolutely. And there's one other guy I really want to talk about offense before we kind of start to wrap up a little bit because he's a guy that coming to MSU, he had a ton of hype going towards him. Obviously, he didn't have the season that he had last year
Yep,
that was expected, but I
yep.
thought this was one of Jack Velling's best games at
Oh
MSU. And
yeah.
I know it's an FCS opponent, but truly started to see a little bit of a flash where he might be getting a little bit healthier. And hopefully, this is the Jack Velling we see, especially if like a Nick Marsh misses a little bit of time.
No, yeah. I think Valen moving forward, that'll give him some confidence. Hopefully, give Child some confidence to hit him and find him. And so, yeah, no, he stepped up. I mean, it was like you said. Hopefully, it just is a rolling building block for him and moves forward off of that. I want to, before we wrap up, talk about how every wide receiver we bring in the portal from a smaller school that puts on the number one finds a way to make a lot of plays, including in the punt return game. Seeing a Omari Kelly, what was it? I'm going to get the official number. 83-yard punt return. Wish he could have cribbed it. Kind of mad at him that he didn't, but that can be huge in a closer game, bigger game down the stretch if you can have a big play that just flips the momentum like that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we haven't had a punt returner like that since obviously Jane Reed.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I mean, the just think about 2021 Nebraska. I mean, that season could have been totally different had Jaden Reed not taken it upon his own shoulders. And it's like, our offense, we're not moving the ball at all. I'm going to go take this thing back and tie this game. And eventually, obviously, we won an OT. He doesn't take that back. We lose. And that's a completely changes the outlook of that season if you lose that home game to Nebraska.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I'm sure Amari Kelly's probably even more upset himself for
I
getting
know.
basically
Yeah.
shoestring tackled. But
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that and I'm like, come on. I'm like
Yep.
one one guy. Like I'm pretty sure it's like maybe was it the punter that ended up
I don't
getting
think it
him?
was the punter. I thought it was initially, but I don't think it ended up being him.
Okay, but yeah, get your feet up a little bit, Amari. Next time, don't get shoestring tackled.
Yeah. No, but
Yeah,
that'll be huge. And Michael Masunis, another only one catch, but it was a big one. And Krishan McCray showing off his hands again. He'll probably. I wonder what the target share will be like if Marsh is out. Obviously, we really hope he isn't, but if he is, McCray you probably see get a lot more targets. So it'll be exciting next week.
yeah, and it'll be late too. We got
It'll be
11
late for
o'clock
sure.
p.m. kickoff, so that'll be fun. There won't be a live instant reaction probably next week unless there's an upset. If there's a top 25 upset, which it seems like that's what USC is going to be, maybe we'll do a live reaction. But we'll talk
Hopefully,
about that. We'll
that'd be
talk about
awesome.
that game coming up here shortly. But yeah, do you have anything else you want to talk about? Bring up anything else? I thought that
Fe-
Brian Lindgren was great in this game, honestly.
oh yeah, no, he's been great the whole season. Well, other than the second half against Western. Um, One concern, I feel like I've been too negative on today's show, but
That's okay.
one concern I do have, I don't know why, and I get he's a punter and he's the best punter in the nation, but Eckley, Ryan Eckley seems to have a little trouble on kickoffs sometimes. He's rolling him over, and he had the one out of bounds, like, and he did a couple of those against Boston College. It just didn't happen to go out of bounds. So that's similar to like Omari Kelly. Like the punt return can be great, but you also you it's like on special teams, you don't want to give the other team a momentum boost. So that's something to look out for in the future. Hopefully, that's just some tweak in this technique or something like that. And like I said, he's a punter, and I know how different those are after seeing it firsthand for a couple of years. But hopefully, we can get that ironed out in the future.
Yeah, if I would have to guess, maybe when Tariq Ahmed Basic is back, or maybe Martin Connington gets a little bit healthier. Maybe he is. If I were to guess, maybe Ryan isn't completely the full time kickoff
No, yeah,
specialist.
yeah, no, he's probably not. But the thing is, because they're both growing, right? Connington and Ahmed Basic.
I believe so.
Yeah, so the kickers I worked with the last 2 years at Saginaw, they were always complaining about how strenuous the kickoff is on you. So I wonder if those guys got lingering injuries, they might just roll with Eckley as long as they can.
Yeah. Which, if he can fix it, it'll be all right. You just can't give the other team the ball on the 35-yard line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's been fine other than those
Yeah.
couple ones. So well, he'll
Yeah.
be straight.
Just
I'm not
just
worried
don't do
about it.
that against USC, please.
Exactly. Or exactly.
Yeah. But no, I agree there. I think that's going to be something to continue to keep an eye on for. But yeah, no, you win. You're 3-0. I believe you're projected favorites in the next like 2 out of your next like I think 9 games. So gonna have to figure out ways to do that. But enjoy 3-0 at this point and
Yeah.
try to pull off an upset this upcoming week.
Yep. That's all you can do. 3-0 works for now.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining again. It
Yep.
was a
Thanks
ton
for
of
having me.
fun. 3-0 for MSU. Now we're going to go on to USC, which that preview will be taking place later this week. Go
Let's
Green.
do it. That'll be a fun one.
Absolutely.